Hello, all, and welcome back to another round of some CSL League of Legends play. Today we have Tufts versus University of Waterloo from our Canadian neighbors in Ontario. Waterloo has had a good start to their playoffs, haven't dropped a game yet. They beat Penn State and won a game by forfeit as well. And now Tufts is back as well. They had a very good weekend with 2 games won, one against Rutgers and UMBC as well. And for your pregame show, I'm joined by Chris and Aaron. Chris, Aaron, how you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you? Last week, I was able to catch the Rutgers game, and Tufts was popping off. Game 1 was a little rough. They kind of got blasted by a Tristana in the middle lane, but they really shut them down games 2 and 3. And I think overall, their draft was just a lot stronger. And they just had the momentum recently. So I don't think they can be stopped right
now. And I'm excited to be here as well. Yeah.
Of course. And in that first game, Morn, the Tufts jungler, said by his own accord that was on him. He said he didn't play as well as he could, but then he really picked it up in those 2 rounds that they won to seal the game against Rutgers. How do you think Morn's play was, and how did he turn the tide in that series?
Well, game 1, he kind of left the mid lane out to dry a little bit, which he then recovered from that games 2 and 3, and was able to get some early kills up on the top side, and then translate those into objectives, and then just spread the gold around the map. And they were a little bit more even game 2 and 3, but they really came in clutch. And then game 3, Morn had 2 incredible Baron steals to really finish the games in style. And yeah, he was just on point those last 2 games.
Right, definitely the highlight of the weekend were those 2 clutch Baron steals. But generally, Morn is tending to play more early game focused junglers. I'm wondering, Chris, if you have any thoughts on that and how that can turn into some good objective wins for Tufts today.
Sure. This series is going to be really an interesting one. I think there are some clear-cut ways that Tufts can exploit Waterloo and vice versa. Morn is going to be a key factor in the series no matter what. The changes on 11-4 made it so farming junglers aren't as hot as they once were. You know, the days of Graves and Nidalee are not gone. Certainly reduced. And I think Morn's natural style is to really play for his lanes while also accumulating resources himself. So he really does enjoy the ganking style that I think is on its way back into the meta. There's of course the tale as old as time. Morn's Elise or Nectin Elise, also bread and butter, not necessarily going to get played by Tufts today, but the style of playing hard to one lane and really shutting them out, we could see with Waterloo's top laner being somebody who's resource heavy and demands a lot of attention, I think, from his team.
Yeah, I'm definitely wondering if you could elaborate on that top lane matchup. 2 master ranked players on each side. We've got Argentine Import for Tufts and Inexhaustive for Waterloo. Are they going to be deciding this game? Do you think they have enough impact on their teams to really turn the tide? I'm wondering what your thoughts are.
Sure. I think Tufts tends to favor the weak side tops usually, or at least the tankier champions that provide a lot more utility and space creation for the team. Waterloo tends to prefer strong side lane champions, generally speaking, that, again, demand a lot of gold. So the way that the top lane will influence this series, I think, is if Waterloo is able to play through their top lane and get them resources, that'll be a big problem for Tufts. But by the same token, it'll be very possible for, Morn and Argentine to shut that out and just completely, again, neutralize that threat. And if that's the case, then you'll be creating really favorable team fights for Tufts, and that'll be huge in this series.
Nice. Aaron, any thoughts?
I'd more or less the same thing. I think shutting down that top laner really opens up the map for them, especially if they can get those early heralds. If they can get that plate gold into Argentine and then even that early tower around the map, that's an easy way to accrue an early advantage. So.
All right, that's enough on the top lane. Let's move down to the mid lane. Last weekend, Easy Life for Tufts was having his fair share of difficulties, definitely looked out of place at times, but really pulled it together at the right moments. Tufts obviously went 2-0 on the weekend, so no complaints there. But in this matchup, do you think there's anything that Easy Life is looking for in particular, or that he can improve on from last week?
Yeah, last week, I'd say, sorry, Chris. I mean, the Orianna into Toronto matchup, game one, is just very difficult, which Chris can speak a little bit more in depth into that. And so, trying to play into Turticler's Yone and Yasuo, I think will be difficult. But as long as you can create that space and just farm up and try and avoid giving over kills, he's winning.
Yeah, again, I feel the champion pool of Waterloo's team is also very volatile. Both their solo laners play volatile champions, so this allows Morn to spend a lot of time in the top side of the map, top and mid, and just help his lanes get through the laning phase. And if he can manage that, they'll be both in really good shape. I think a lot of the Tufts solo laners come online in the middle game and later, whereas the champions that Waterloo will be looking to utilize really do spike sometimes in early and then mid game. So again, a lot of this I think will be more in shielding early action in the top side and allowing basically his team to scale up and win through superior macro in the mid game. In terms of specific champions, we'll see prioritized by I think both teams. There's a contested pick in Victor, high power control mage that scales insanely well and can easily carry the late games. I think both mid laners have high priority on this pick, and it'll be curious to see if it even makes it past the ban table and where it gets picked if it does get picked in the pick order, as opposed to the Yone and Yasuo angle, which again will push the jungler on Waterloo towards more AP junglers or AP top laners, which again I think that's a deficiency from Waterloo, is they have very little magic damage in their top side.
Yeah, definitely going to be looking out for those Victor or Yasuo picks. And finally, we've got to go down to the bottom lane with the ADCs and supports. There's a big Seraphine and Senna, meta right now. In League of Legends, I'm wondering, both sides seem to try to go for those champions on a fairly frequent basis. How do you think those will make an appearance? And if so, how are those going to affect what the teams are doing in today's game?
Sure. So Senna is a champion that's very versatile and provides a lot to the team. She scales really well, has really long range when she gets souls, which is why some teams tend to prefer the fasting Senna. And I know you mentioned both Senna and Seraphine. I believe they were played last week by Tufts, both champions in the same lane. And I'm actually curious, Worth It, what are your takes on how that worked last week?
It was pretty strong. I mean, the glacial augment into Seraphine's beat drop is a really frustrating thing to play against, since it's an easy form of CC and just can allow early kills. And especially if a jungler comes to help him out, it's a surefire way to get some gold into that bottom lane. And just the utility she brings to the team, that long range charm that can hit multiple members, is something to really be afraid of in those late game team fights as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think healing and shielding is incredibly prevalent in the game, and right now a lot of teams or compositions are designed around having a beefy front line that's able to stay alive forever with the sustain provided from the shields and the heals that Seraphine and Senna are so notable for having. And the latent damage they provide too is really high for how much utility they also provide.
Which I wonder, thoughts on the buff to Serpent's Fang? Do you think that is going to come into play in this matchup? If those two picks come through, will the lack of shielding from that item be enough, if anybody even goes for it?
I like the idea behind the item design and the changes that Riot are making to the heal cut and shield break items, but at the moment I don't think that they're nearly sufficient. So that's part of why there's so much priority on these champions, is Riot's design is kind of insufficient in dealing with the problems that those champions can create. So long answer is that. The short answer is I don't think Serpent's Fang will be a deal breaker in this series, but it still would be exciting to see if it comes in. I agree.
All right, thank you both for that wonderful analysis. Before we go, though, I'm wondering what your picks are, all bias removed. I know you're on a Tufts JumboCast stream, so maybe that's going to affect your judgment. But both teams, it's a double elimination playoffs. Neither team has lost, so they're a little safe, but obviously want the dub in the weekend. I want to know what your pick is and why.
I can go first. I'd say overall, to the point Chris made, they just lack a lot of magic damage in the Waterloo pool. So if they can plan their draft around that and force them into a heavily AD composition, as long as they don't throw away the early game on the side of Tufts, I think there's some surefire steps that you can take to build up that armor and just snowball through the mid game and then just run through them in the late game.
Yeah, and for me, I think Tufts is a momentum-based team. Waterloo is certainly a formidable opponent. And the series could go anyway, but I want to predict the series 2-1 for Tufts and another reverse sweep. I think Waterloo might get the better of them in this first game, but I expect Morn and the guys and the coaching staff to figure out any issues that they might have in game one and easily turn it back and charge through to a series win.
All right, there you have it. Our two completely unbiased experts say Tufts are taking it 2-1 in a reverse sweep. Chris, Aaron, again, thank you for joining us. It was a really good analysis. Game is hopefully starting in just 7 minutes, so stay tuned, and we'll see you then.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Microfoil is going to be forced to flash out as Easy Life teleports in to join the fight. Mecha Oopla is going to try and land that stun onto Argentine Import, but a nice job from the Gnar to kite out the Renekton. The Dominus has been popped, but the third auto will finish him off, but potentially taken down. Microfoil is still alive somehow, and they end up trading 2 for 2 so far. Argentine Import is here. The Elder Dragon buff has despawned. A 3-man Gnar into the inhibitor of all places will mean that is the signal for Tufts to go in. So, Smite is just coming up for him, but Morn is going to come in and steal the dragon. He can't corner break out safely. Tasty Mango going to try to flash out. The Guardian Shield is a lot. There comes the bullet time. Going to take down Jansu. Constantine Valdor is here already, but the corner break back will pick up 2 kills from...
There's a little bit of fight breaking out.
Yeah, there's the Camille Gallia, but in the opposite direction, that's going to be Easy Life blocking up Bandit, and Jansu already doing a lot of damage. Lodge Wheels already falls, and so does Heart. The 2 carries for Maris are down. Can he get into the pit? He's going to get in there. There comes the Hero's entrance. He steals the dragon for the 2nd time in a row. Are you kidding me, Morn? 2 seals in a row. 3-man taunt, killer instinct in. Mango is down. Argentine with the teleport. Another kill onto the goblin. Foil is under attack. There comes the blob. No defense available for NYU.
To lock down the castle and having that easy life to not let anyone in.
Oh, so much damage there onto Christoph Bandit. He ends up falling though. Constantine will die in return, but Wheels is the next target. Zelek will pick him up. Bear Dog trying to get one back onto the 80 carry, but no, a double kill going over to Jansu. And that's going to be called the Forge God. Ziphius is looking for Jansu, and he finds him. That's going to be the flash E to try and get that Brittle proc in. And Jansu is running for his life. Looks like Ziphius might have gone a little bit too far, though the root's going to finish him off. And that's going to be a shutdown from Argentine Import. Curtain call has opened up. This could be the turnaround that Tufts needs. A huge petrifying gaze coming out of Chusei. This could be big for Lehigh. Stopwatch already used onto Constantine. That's going to be dead Argentine. Morin is going to come in and finish a kill off onto the Cassiopeia. And it's going to be a 2v3 right now. A crit finishes off this Lehigh. The bug has been squashed finally, and one more will do it. Speaking of greed, that's going to be Masuta being caught up for the second time in a row. Constantine going to land that Zenith Blade onto him. He's picking at below 100 HP, but it looks like Kokoro is going to try and save him for now. That's going to be a kill. Johnson's going to pick that up, but there's the re-engage. Belief Survivors and Kokoro are trying to go for this. Flash Q from Constantine's going to lock up the Oriana, and she's going to fall. Belief Survivors is now strangely out of position. Level 6 is going to be the Solar Flare coming out of Constantine. That's going to be a double kill for Argentine Import. Spawn, Upo's going to dash over the wall, have the dominance available, and it looks like he's going to get chunked out pretty low. They're going to knock up Argentine Import. South American might be in a bit of trouble. There comes the Heroes entrance, gonna knock up a lot of members here onto NYU. Microfoil goes down, so does Mango, and Thompson's winning this fight hard. Sable is gonna get taunted up and shut down, and so is Oopla. Goblin's the only one left, but the Meganar has already been unleashed. The Wallop is there, the autos are there, the BM is there, Shutdown is there. That's gonna be Argentine Import getting the ace he picked up, but that's gonna be a 2-man Solar Flare from Constantine. Curtain Call has been issued, and Morin is in the front line looking for some damage. Curtain Call will only land onto Ziphius, but Easy Life is now in the middle of the enemy team. That's going to be a taunted up Caitlyn, and that is a dead one. At that, Easy Life picks up the first kill of the fight, and more are soon to follow. They are just diving the tower. 4 dead already because Chusei was not even there. He's going to try a 1v5, but that's going to be a tough task for Yasuo. An ace picked up for Tufts, their second of the game, and a huge team fight win for the Jumbos as they look for the inhibitor.
That was a great.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the JumboCast broadcast. I'm Andrew Howe, joined here by my good friend Adi Paul-Parik. And Adi, we've got an exciting matchup here, the battle for NA supremacy here in the CSL round of 32 as Tufts University takes on University of Waterloo B. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Andrew. Thanks for asking. Very hyped for this game. I gotta say, this playoff run has been definitely a bunch of fun matches to watch. We had a bunch of really good games last week, and I'm expecting some even better League of Legends today.
I'm super excited for the matches that we have here, especially considering that both of these teams have won their past 2 series. Of course, Waterloo did take the last one off of a forfeit. Not that that really means too much, but yeah, I think we're about to get into the pro draft. The links have just been sent out, so super excited to see how that one goes. We're going to have Tufts on the blue side for game 1. And Adi, there's a couple of important picks that we have to go over here in the draft, especially in the bottom lane. We got Senna and Seraphine. Those are some picks we got to look out for.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Senna, obviously, as you guys know, has been hit by that nerf. Well, indirect nerf with the Ginzus. Ginzus now caps at converting 100% of the crit chance to on hit damage. So when Senna essentially gets 150% crit, or she doesn't get 300 damage on hit, which is a bit of a nerf, but I still feel like overall she's a powerful pick because that damage really doesn't come online until really late in the game, and you can still build the Infinity Edge or whatever to dish out a ton of damage, and just the kind of stuff she's able to provide for the team is very good. And like we saw last week, that Senna Seraphine lane is really strong.
Yeah, not only do the Jumbos play it down in the bot side with Jansu and constantly mauled, Kalimkoi and Zend in the bot lane for the side of Waterloo also have that in their back pocket, ready to whip it out at any time. So Senna Seraphine, definitely some important picks to watch out for. We might see it be banned away on the side of Waterloo as they are on red side for game 1, or we could potentially see a sort of trade where they take one, give up the other. It'll be interesting to see how that one works out because Adi, the bot lane is going to be a super volatile matchup. We know both of these bot lanes really like to generally play aggressive and like to gather a lot of resources for themselves. So I'm really excited to see how the draft kind of works in their favor because the games are certainly going to kind of hover around that side of the map.
Yeah, like you said, the bot lane has been like typically a pretty strong point from Tufts. You know, when they're like playing really well and like kind of dominating, it's because their bot lane is able to make those plays and like create room for Morn to get in those drags or create dives for Morn to get ahead. And in the last like week or so, we've seen a lot of Morn play around that top lane with the Argentine import, and so it may mean like he may not again spend so much time in the bot lane, but as we've seen before, Constantly Malden and Jansu have been playing those 2v2s really well, and it's definitely going to be a very interesting lane to watch.
Yeah, for sure. And just we're about to get into draft, of course. But as you said, Audi, bot lane definitely going to be a huge point of contention. Another couple of picks that we might want to look out for is towards this top side. We got Argentine Import versus Inexhaustive, two very strong players, up in the top side of the map. And some of the picks that we might see banned away to start off are stuff like the Camille and Vladimir, some champions that they both do start off and play a lot of. As we are kind of headed into the draft right now, we're seeing Victor being taken away, Adi, and this is pretty interesting considering that the mid laner Turret Tickler does play a lot of the Victor, and so taking that away leaves only basically two options for him.
Yeah, that's for sure. Victor is one of the stronger mid lane picks from the side of Waterloo, but they're spawning back with the Udyr ban, and again, Udyr has been hit by decent amount of nerfs, but like we saw last week, Udyr is still a menace in the jungle, and it's very smart to take that away from Tufts, who is on blue side and has the potential to first pick that.
Yep, and honestly, this is a smart ban from Tufts because taking this Victor away, Waterloo's mid lane Turret Tickler only has a couple of other picks that he could potentially pull out that he's like super comfortable on. Obviously, he does have some of these pocket picks like the Malphite, the Syndra, but looking at Yon Yasuo here for Turret Tickler, probably going to be picked up here in the first phase, and that's definitely a kind of a pick that you can try to target here early on in the draft.
Yeah, and Andrew, like we were talking about before, there goes the Senna away, and we saw the Seraphine hover as well, so kind of like relatively similar champions and like that ball lane, relatively similar priority. Makes sense that like choosing between one or the other, but yeah, the Camille's taken away, and interestingly enough, the Galio's also taken away from Tufts. So I think that's kind of signaling that they want to go a little bit aggressive in the mid lane because Galio's kind of that pick where they've been typically giving to Easy Life, to like have a decently strong laning phase and beat a lot of those like AP style champions, but also like have a ton of impact. So if they're trying to take away that Galio, it may hint that they might be going for another strong pick for Easy Life, like maybe the Ahri or something.
Yeah, definitely a lot of picks still available for Easy Life. We've seen his champion versatility so far in the past couple of series, pulling out things like the Ahri and like the Annie, but we're not going to see that just yet. We are headed into the pick phase. Seraphine is the final ban. Pretty typical to see red side Seraphine being taken away from. First pick, Rel coming in for the Jumbos. We're going to see Constantine pick that one up, and Waterloo's going to respond with the Thresh.
Yeah, and we saw the Rel like come out a lot last week, and it was definitely a very strong pick. Obviously, it was like known for that synergy with either the Kai'Sa or the Samira, and while Samira doesn't really exist in the meta anymore because she got gutted, but definitely still a really strong support Rel is, and makes sense that Waterloo's kind of hovering that Kai'Sa now to take that away. They don't want to let that like Rel Kai'Sa have that synergy in the bot lane.
Yep, and it's going to be that Kai'Sa matching up with the Thresh for Callum Coy and Zendin down in the bottom side. Honestly, pretty typical to see this Kai'Sa being picked up. After the Seraphine and Senna are taken off the table, the next one on the list is definitely that Kai'Sa being picked up. So interesting to see that, and we'll see if Tufts decides to respond to counter the bot lane here with Jan picking up a pick here. But it's actually going to be Morn selecting the Hecarim for himself in the Shadow Isles Horsey is headed into the jungle blue side.
I'm gonna say this honestly really interesting. I think in the interview last time we were talking about that, like I forget which team it was exactly, but they kind of went for that early pick Hecarim, and Tufts went for the counter, but Tufts is instead, picking that early pick Hecarim right now, and they're actually picking up the Aphelios as well, one of those champions that Jiansu has been playing a ton of. Kind of one-tricked it for a little bit, and has been, really happy to play it as it's come back in the meta.
Yeah, seeing that Aphelios being picked up, definitely a power pick in the hands of Jiansu. The typical counter to that Hecarim is the Olaf, though. We're going to see Legan pick that up, send it down into the jungle, try and counter more. Now we're headed into the second ban phase, and it looks like we're going to be targeting the solo lanes here in this second phase. Already taken off the table.
Yeah, I mean, like I was saying, the Galio ban might hint that Easy Life might go for a little bit more of an aggressive lane or something like that. So makes sense to take away that Ahri, because that's one of the champions Easy Life is like, really comfortable on, really strong on, and might, force him to go towards something else. We have seen things like the Orianna and stuff before. I think you played the Annie as well, but Annie is taken away again, so we'll definitely see how he goes to. And the Yone Vladimir is taken away. Very interesting. I think this hints to me that they're trying to force Waterloo into that Yasuo pick, but I think the Vladimir is also targeting that top lane.
Yeah, it looks like Yone going to be taken away. Orianna is being hovered, though. This is a pick that we weren't necessarily expecting to come out of Particular, but he obviously does have that mid laner in his arsenal. Seeing that also is taking away another mid lane pick from Easy Life. That's another champion he really thrives on. Maybe see something like a little bit further down the totem pole in terms of priority for him now. Maybe something like the Morgana, even taking something like a Malphite or Renekton down into the middle lane could be something that we could see here to try and counter this Orianna, and we'll see what the Jumbos try to respond with here. They will be able to get that counter in the mid. It's going to be a Gragas. Now this is interesting, could be a flex.
Yeah, I mean, it obviously has like the ability to flex mid lane, but I think because it's like being picked here with the last two picks, it's pretty sure it's going into the top lane, which is very interesting, because that's blinded into Waterloo, and it's not a champion we've really seen Argentine import play a lot recently, but yeah, it's very interesting. The Anivia actually is being hovered here for Easy Life, which is a pick that's become like pretty strong in solo queue after Anivia got those buffs, but the Talon is taken instead.
Now this is exciting, seeing the Talon being picked up for Easy Life in the middle lane to match up against the Orianna. We haven't really seen a lot of Talon so far in the CSL, but definitely a pick that has started to gain a lot of priority in high elo. So seeing this pick up to match up against this control mage in the Orianna, super excited to see how he can manage to shove out the waves, go for some roams, and really have an impact on the map. The final pick for Waterloo will be Inexhaustive Aatrox. This is once again a super powerful pick to match up against the Gragas, and so a pretty good draft to round things off here.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just going to talk about that Talon pick a little more. It's a pick we haven't seen in quite a while, because it wasn't really the strongest, but recently he's been like, coming up to be a very strong pick in solo queue, and people have typically been going for a very interesting item choice. They go through the Prowler's Claw into the Serpent's Fang, according to op.gg, so very interesting to see how he's gonna play this champion. Definitely very interesting. With those mid-lane bans, I really wasn't expecting him to go for the Talon, but if this is kind of what they were hoping for, I feel like they drafted that very well.
Yeah, and I think that the Serpent's Fang in particular is an item that I've personally really been advocating for, especially just looking at the team composition that Waterloo have set up. You have an Orianna and a Kai'Sa already. Those have inherent shields in their kit. Now, on top of that, you could potentially have some items like the Gargoyle Stoneplate or the Sterix coming out of Olaf and Aatrox, or the Locket of the Iron Solari coming out of Thresh. Lots of potential for a lot of shield breaking to be happening here against this Waterloo team composition. And if Easy Life decides to pick up this Talon with the Serpent's Fang, definitely could provide a lot of impact.
Yeah, and Serpent's Fang actually has kind of changed how it does the shield breaking. It used to be it used to do more damage to people that had shields already, but now what it does is it will break shields if someone has a shield on, and also reduce the next shield that comes on if there's no shield already.
Oh wow, so the new with the new patch coming in, definitely even more strong of an item than before. We know that Serpent's Fang hasn't really been an item that a lot of people have been really going for, but I think it definitely is something that a lot of people should be targeting a little bit more. And as you said, Adi, having that talent pick that up early on into the game as part of the core build will be super interesting to see if it happens. Now, of course, there are always the potential for different flexes, but just going through the client draft right now, we are here to confirm that Gragas will be sent over to Argentina in the top side, and the Talon will be going to East.
Yeah, and I mean, that makes sense. Talon is like a really strong, Gragas has been a champion that's been like really strong in that top lane, you know. We've seen it picked since like week 1 of LPL or whatever, and it's been like, you know, been a very strong presence in competitive play, so makes sense that Argentine Import is going to try to pick that up. I'm assuming that this pick kind of signals that it's something that he's been working on recently, you know, going a little bit away from the Sion, Gnar, Camille kind of thing, so very interested to see what kind of work he's put into this champion and how it's going to turn out for this game.
Yeah, and I'm interested to see what kind of itemization this Gragas goes for. You know, there's kind of a dichotomy in terms of what kind of items Gragas will typically opt for. Either you go for something like the Turbo Chem Tank, stack up a lot of that ability hasting with super tanky, or you go more towards the ability power side, try to one-shot some people with things like Everfrost and Cosmic Drive. Honestly, just considering the lack of AP damage that Tufts has on their team, I wouldn't be super opposed to Argentina going full AP. But if you're trying to go for the team fight composition, the tanks definitely will have a much stronger impact in the later game.
Yeah, I completely agree. I feel like with the like full AD comp they've like drafted, besides the Gragas, they might be hinting that they may go for a little more damage on the Gragas, if not like full AP, like maybe a little bruisery. But I still feel like Gragas has a lot of base damage, so if they need that like full tank, it won't be that detrimental to them.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely possible. Not entirely confident on how Gragas does into Aatrox. We'll have to see how that lane sort of unfolds, but this is definitely a top lane matchup that can become super volatile. If either of these players end up getting a solo kill or two or some help from their jungler, definitely have the skill and the opportunity to punish the other in the side lane. So I'm super excited to see how that works out. And Adi, I think all in all, this game 1 is about to be super explosive.
Yep, Andrew, you said it. It's going to be very good, very fun to watch game 1. So as we go into this, you know, spectator delay, stay tuned. We'll be right back after this break.
Welcome to Summoner's Rift, everybody. We're here for game 1 of round 3 of the winners bracket in the CSL playoffs. We got Tufts University on your blue side, University of Waterloo B on your red side. Adi, after all of this excitement, all of this build-up, we had a great pregame show as well. And now I'm just super excited to see some incredible League of Legends action.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like both teams, picking some pretty spicy picks. So definitely setting up. Sorry, definitely setting up to be a very interesting one. We've seen the Ghost taken for the Heck Room instead of the Flash, so we got some explosive ganks through there. We saw Easy Life, start to get that Doran's blade, but instead switch to a longsword. So yeah, definitely some interesting things picked up as both teams just go for the normal 5 point.
Yeah, no level 1 shenanigans just yet. I think these teams are really starting to understand how important this best of 3 series will be. Getting you into that winners round of 16 will provide so much opportunity and flexibility for them to continue to push into the further and further into the playoffs here at CSL. Now, we might see a bit of a late invade coming out here from Legans, Kalimkoy, and Zenden as they're about to come into the red. Now, it doesn't look like Morn is actually going to be starting here, but Jansu is going to spot them out, and we might see some vertical jungling.
Yeah, looks like they're gonna try to take away this red buff. Constantly Malden's, walking back just to make sure Jansu is able to, actually get to lane safely. Taking the, safest way possible back to lane, just to make sure don't randomly give up that first blood. And it's gonna be close. So I'll see if he actually ends up getting the XP for those first couple minions.
Yeah, and this is super interesting because I think it really reflects the kind of play style that these teams want to go for. We've seen Tufts and we've seen the Tufts Jumbos team really focus towards that top side onto Argentine import, and just looking at the team composition here for Waterloo, really expecting them to play more towards bot. So setting up this vertical jungling already is going to be super interesting. Now the question is, does Morn actually realize that his whole red side is gone? It looks like he's going to his wolves right now, and if I'm not mistaken, he might actually be headed towards the Raptors. So doesn't look like he actually is aware of this. This might be a bit of a mistake.
Yeah, I mean, we saw this. We all saw Olaf, walk in, and I'm pretty sure because of Jansu's pathing, he saw the Olaf walk in as well. So you have to think that like the entire red side is gone, and with that, Olaf's going to be like relatively far ahead because right now Hecarim doesn't really have anything to farm, but Olaf's going to have all that top side left to clear.
Level 2 hit first for Waterloo. Nice chunk of damage on to Constantly Malden. Doesn't look like that W will end up hitting. But now it looks like Morn is going to go for a bit of a desperation play. He knows that his entire bot side camps are gone. So he's going to have to go for an aggressive play now in the bottom lane. Got the devastating charge. Got the ghost. Going to land the knockup into Zenden. Nice triple play. The heal is going to buy some time. But Zenden's going to go down. That's first blood for your Jumbos. Morn's continuing to run in off the Kalimkoy. He's going to make sure that he maintains a sort of lead here in this early game, despite his entire bot side going down.
Yeah, I think I really like this play. The bot lane really lost a lot for seeing that Olaf, and while Hecarim doesn't really get much from that bot lane, just coming bot and able to punish the bot lane for pushing up so much means that Tufts bot lane gets to get back in this a little bit, as they were down a little bit of farm and XP. So definitely gonna be very nice to get that kill. Obviously they're only able to get on the support, not the Kaisa, so it's not gonna be best case scenario. But I still think it was the right choice to go for the Thresh there, as that Lantern could have definitely destroyed that play.
And this is pretty huge for Morn, just considering the fact that he lost so much. Essentially got 3 buff here to start this first game off. And now that he has that kill into his inventory, essentially he's made up that ground already. He's gonna come back, clear his Krugs, his second respawns of Raptors and Gromp, and eventually the Wolves will be coming up. So he's gonna actually have a lot of stuff to farm. Now we're gonna take a look towards the top side. Argentine import gonna use the body slam to get away from the gank. I don't know if he knows that Legans is in here though.
Yeah, I mean, with Legans able to go to that top side for free, there's no chance that Morton's gonna be able to be there and stop him. So they're gonna get the flash for free from Argentine import in that top lane.
Yep, flashes away from the undertow, saves his life. Might have to back, and since the wave's in a bad spot, might actually be forced to use both summoner spells here early on. We'll see if he actually ends up doing that, though. Looks like he might actually be staying in the lane.
Yeah, I mean, with that dragon coming up, it makes sense to think that, the Olaf isn't going to be here for too much longer, but he's still out of mana, and as we all know, Aatrox doesn't use mana, so nice trade up in the top lane.
Yeah, and this is not good for Argentine. Just look at the wave that's been piling up into Inexhaustive's tower. He's got a perfect freeze going on right now, up about 14 CS to boot. Hook's going to land onto Easy Life. Doesn't look like that much is going to happen off of that. Does lose a decent chunk of his health bar. Dragon has spawned, though, and we'll see if they end up taking it. It's going to be in the Eternal.
Yeah, I mean, Thrush has been like roaming around this entire jungle, so they have a decent amount of control. Kai'Sa's still up a decent amount of farm just because of that level 1, but everything should be fine from the side of both teams. No one's really going for this dragon just yet. Things are slowing down a little bit.
Yeah, and this is good play coming out from Waterloo so far. It looks like they've done a really good job of doing what they plan to do in the early game. Sure, you lost that kill onto the bot side, but you have big CS leads on both your top and bottom laners. Getting this Aatrox and Kai'Sa ahead super early is going to be super important. So seeing how they really manipulated that, worked their way around that, and just allow Turret Tickler to just farm up and scale, get ready for these team fights. And they're doing a really good job with their game plan so far.
Yeah, but with this level 6 coming out from the Talon and the Serrated Dirk against that, name is escaping me at the moment. The arm guards, from the Orianna may signal that this Talon's going to try to look for something on some other part of the map. And with this wave building up in the top lane, it looks like he's trying to look for something up here against this Aatrox.
Oh, the Ward's going to spot him out, but Easy Life is going to go in. Nice damage coming out from the ultimate. The Ignite is going to burn Inexhaustive down, and Easy Life will pick up a kill. Meanwhile, headed onto the bot side. That's Zenden getting locked up once again. Flash being used, but it looks like he's going to get out. Now here come the teleports. It's going to be Turret Tickler joining to make this fight a 3v3. Shockwave is going to whiff, though. This could be a decent turnaround for Tufts. The hook's going to land onto Constantly Malden. They're going to stun up Turret Tickler. He's going to fall, though. Here comes Argentine. He's only level 5, but he's going to knock down Turret Tickler with the EW. Now Inexhaustive's into the back line. Does have the World Ender, but it's on cooldown. So right now, it looks like the health advantage is in favor of Waterloo for now. They're going to land the hook onto Morn. They might chuck him out, but a huge body slam coming in from Argentine Import. They're going to trade 1-for-1 as 80 carry for top laner falls. Overall, not a bad trade for either team. It's just going to look like even for now.
Yeah, really good job from Tufts, knowing that the top laner or the jungler is on the top side, and Hecarim's going for more.
Morn's going back in. He's going to land the devastating charge, but the damage is coming in from Callum, taking him down. Here comes the box coming in on to Argentine. Going to trade one back from Constantine Malden. It's a 2-for-1 for Waterloo, though. Bit of an over-aggressive play coming out from Morn.
Yeah, I like the attempt from Moore and try to get that kill on the Thresh, but as Thresh was able to get out of that with those tier 2 boots, Kai'Sa was free hitting the entire time. I feel like maybe if they'd gone on Kai'Sa from the beginning and RC Import was able to follow up a little sooner, they might have been able to do something there. But good job from Callum Coy kiting that out and closing that gold lead up a little more off the backside of that play.
And the kills might not be in favor of Waterloo, but they're playing this early game exceptionally well. Look at all of the lanes. Other than mid lane, which is rather even for now, top, bot, and jungle all have extensive CS, gold, and experience leads. So they're definitely in the right spot for now. We might see more of an aggressive play, though. Constantly Malden's going to get knocked up. The Flay is going to send him right back into Leganz's hands. He's going to go down, and Jansu's on the opposite side of the map. Can't fight this 1v3. No ultimate available either. Double kill going over to Legans.
Yeah, definitely a good try from the side of Jansu to try to get another kill on the backside of that. But, just the goal and experience lead you were talking about, level 5 to level 6, there wasn't really much of a chance for Aphelios to win that 1v3. So really good job from Waterloo, punishing down there. But that's just going to turn for another drag for them. And this lead is getting bigger and bigger.
Yeah, it looked even at just a couple of minutes ago, but now we're taking a look at the gold. It's 2,000 in favor of UWB. So they're going to pick up the first dragon of the game. See Ocean Soul spawning next. We're either going to get Cloud or Mountain. And right now, it just looks like Waterloo is playing these lanes perfectly. They're just doing everything that they possibly can to just deny as much gold as possible from this jumbo lineup. But they might actually face a little bit of backlash here on the top side. More just going to clear out some vision, not going to go for the gank.
Yeah, and this mid lane might be, one of the hopes for Tufts. Obviously, into that Seeker's arm guard, it might be hard for this talent to, find that solo kill. But just with the wave clear from the W and the constant roaming with those tier 2 boots already picked up, that might be an avenue back in the game for this jumbo squad.
Yeah, it looks like Easy Life's really going to have to put the team on his back for the next couple of minutes. Sitting here, the only laner really that has any sort of advantage so far in this game, sitting at 1-0, has that kill that he got on the top side. And we saw how fast he could burst it down, even a champion like Inexhaustive. But we'll see if he can outplay this. The Shockwave's going to land onto him. The hook's going to get flashed away from, though. The Nimbus Cloak movement speed will save Easy Life's life. However, we're going to take a look at the top side. Argentine is dangerously low, and Exhaustive does not have the flash available to try and re-engage.
Yeah, and with Argentine Empire going for that more AP oriented build, doesn't really have the tank stats to deal with Aatrox right now, and not doing so hot in this lane right now.
Yeah, he's going to have to just keep trying to sustain, use that passive off of cooldown, essentially, to make sure that he stays healthy enough to not die and just pick up as much CS as possible. We're seeing some of the mythics already come through. Like, Gans is super far ahead right now at this point, having that 200 gold bounty, having those 2 kills. He's the first one with the mythic with the Gore Drinker coming in.
Yeah, this Olaf definitely has been, farming a lot. I feel like the gold lead isn't too much in that jungle, but still very strong. Olaf has been really proactive in these last couple of minutes, making those plays bot lane and mid lane, and with 4 members in this bot side jungle, they might be looking for another play in this bot lane.
Yeah, it's not looking too hot for Jansu and Constantly Malden. There's 4 members of the Warriors down here. The sweeper's going to spot him out. That's a signal to go in. Ragnarok is popped, which means that we can't lock up Legans for now. Jansu is coming down and melting down. Magnastorm's going to buy some time. Here comes Morn. Has the Onslaught of Shadows available to get out, and he will do so. But the killer instinct in from Callum. This could be a bit of an over-aggressive play. Here comes Easy Life. Has a Shadow Assault to try and buy some time. Legans getting dangerously low. The Ignite is ticking, and boom! That's the shutdown going into the enemy jungler. 500 gold into Easy Life's pocket as a failed dive happens. It's just a 1-for-1.
Yeah, really good job from Easy Life. Try to get another shutdown off the back of that. The burn plus the Ignite ticking down, getting through that heal. But in the end, more gold coming to the side of this Waterloo bot lane, and the gold's really only being on this Talon. So if this Talon's not able to spread that gold around and get leads in other lanes, it might be for naught.
But it looks like he's doing a good job so far. I mean, he's had multiple plays so far. Once to the top lane, once down bottom. Argentine might be in a bit of trouble, though. Has the cask, going to send Inexhaustive away. So it doesn't look like a solo kill is going to happen just yet. And right now, both of the top laners just sitting at around 30% HP.
Yeah, I think a decent amount of gold on the side of Waterloo, obviously with that 2k gold lead. A lot of that being in the bot lane. I think overall, it's like not too bad in the rest of the lanes. It's like only 100, 200 gold separating each side. But again, this Kaisa is massive right now. And as we can see from the chat, this ADC is definitely very good at this champion and can definitely carry this one out as there's another play in the spot lane.
A little bit of an over-aggressive play towards that bottom lane turret is going to result in Callum picking up 2 straight kills as Morin and Jansu both fall. Nice use of the hook there from Zenden as well, playing this bot lane super well. We see Callum already sitting at 4-0-4.
Yeah, 4-0-4 on this Kaisa, 50 CS lead. Already has the Q upgrade with the Serrated Dirk plus Kraken Slayer. Definitely going to be hard one to deal with, especially with getting that E upgrade. Talon's going to be have a lot of hard time trying to kill that Kaisa.
Well, he just picked up his first mythic as well. That's going to be the Prowler's Claw coming into inventory. Going to do a nice job providing some additional damage as well into the back line. If you can just manage to use that Shadow Assault to dash in, one-shot one of the main carries could be a big turnaround in the fight. But there still is a lot of scaling available for the Jumbos right now. So yeah, it's like we're looking like a little bit of just trying to wait this game out. They're sitting at about a 4,000 gold deficit. They're just going to have to try and scale up, get Argentine and the rest, and Jansu ahead as well. Just try to go for these later fights.
Yeah, I think the thing is what they desperately need to do is get that gold onto Jansu, because I think as you go later into the game, in the team fights, if Kaisa dashes onto the Aphelios, if Aphelios has like enough gold, he can do a lot of damage. He's like one of the champions that really likes people dashing into him. But as it's looking with not even a single completed item against that Serrated Dirk and Kraken Slayer, this Kaisa is miles ahead of the Aphelios.
Yeah, right now Callum is doing a very good job staying ahead. We're headed into the 14-minute mark though. The second dragon has spawned and it's going to be taken down almost instantaneously as Waterloo will pick up their 2-0 dragon lead, only 2 away from the soul.
Yeah, this ball lane lead is just allowing them to do whatever they want down there, so it kind of makes sense that they're taking these objectives. looks like Tufts was like trying to look for those plays. We saw the Hecarim dash in for a bit in the mid lane, but there's not really much else going on as Waterloo is just dancing around with their 4K goal lead and 2 dragons.
Yeah, so they're definitely the ones in the driver's seat right now. The question is, how much can they extend this lead in the next 5 minutes or so? Because that's kind of going to be the point of contention. You're going to have that next dragon fight come in. Cloud Soul point available for Waterloo. So it's going to be pretty important for Tufts to try and scale up and work towards going for a fight here. Easy Life going aggressive on the Turret Tickler though. Shockwave is going to try and peel off. But there's the Prowler's Claw. There's the Ignite. Stopwatch already used on the Turret Tickler though. Easy Life's going to come in with a Rake. Not enough damage to come back. And no, the command attack coming in from Turret Tickler will take down the Talon. A little bit of an over-aggressive play. Lots of armor available onto this Orianna. And that means that she's able to come out with the win.
Yeah, I think it was a nice try from Easy Life, but I think like after that Stopwatch is blown, it's really aggressive to try to go for the play.
Huge cast coming in from Argentine. That's going to be a shutdown going on to Constantly Malden. Not really where you want the gold to be, but you'll take that any day of the week. A beautiful outplay from the Gragas in the top side.
Yeah, and with the Kaisa off the map, it means they might be able to, you know, look around this Rift Herald. Kaisa really has, like, most of that goal lead with a 3K goal lead over Jiangsu. So, without Kaisa on the map, they might try to, you know, do something on this top side. But with Hecarim on the bot side and Talon also on the bot side, they may not do too much as Kaisa's up in 3 seconds.
Again, might be a little bit out of position. Does have the Ragnarok and had the Dark Passage coming out from Zenden to keep him safe. Rift Herald, as you said, Adi, is available. So it looks like Morn and Constantine Malden are going to work towards this Rift Herald, get a lot of posturing around this top side, and might potentially look for an objective.
Yeah, looks like with Kaisa, they're the ones who are able to turn on this Rift Herald, and you know, not really much Jumbos can do about it. They're kind of posturing around, seeing if they can make a play, but you know, it doesn't look like they're gonna be able to do much. But Morn is going in
for steal. Doesn't look like he's gonna get it. 2-man play coming in from Zenden. That's gonna be the jungle support duo for Tufts getting locked up. And Exhaustive is here with the World Ender as well, gonna be pumping in the damage. Here comes the Moonlight Vigil to try and buy some time, but it's gonna be a double kill going over to Lagan. Jiangsu is now running. Easy Life is running away too. They're gonna dive under the towers potentially, but that's Rift Herald and 2 kills being picked up for Waterloo.
Yeah, it was a nice try, but the like I said, that amazing play from Zenden that, like, you know, really stemmed any engage potential from the Hecarim. You know, force Hecarim just used that E immediately, and he just got bursted down as, like I said, there's massive goal lead, and on the back of that, they're gonna be able to get 2 more turrets, and this goal lead is really getting out of hand.
Yeah, it's continuing to stack up, now sitting at around almost 6,000 at this point. At the 17-minute mark, definitely a very, very big advantage coming in from the Waterloo Warriors. We're sitting here in game 1 though. This is a best of 3, but right now Waterloo is certainly the ones poised to take this early lead in the series.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I just think with the like comps that they've picked, and like the fact that it's going to be a really long time before this Aphelios gets online, there's just so much time where Tufts is not going to be able to really match them that you know, they're just going to get super far ahead. Well, even more far ahead than they are right now.
Yeah, and we'll see if that manages to happen. Certainly, this Olaf is going to be super important to go for that. Constantly Malden going in with the charge into an Exhaustive. Argentine and Constantly Malden might go for an aggressive play, and Morn is out of position. That's the hook coming in from Zenden, making plays all over the map as Turret Tickler comes in to join the party. Now going to look like a 2v4. The flash hook is going to land onto Argentine, sentencing him to death, as a double kill comes in from Lagans, and it looks like Waterloo is winning this game right, left, center.
Yeah, you know, they're just they can do whatever they want in the jungle right now. They're just so far ahead, easily finding out Born, and the flash hook getting Argentine import as well. And with this Rift Herald crashing onto the tier 2, it's not looking so good for the side of the Jumbos.
Yeah, and they could potentially even look for more. There's the Rift Herald continuing to make some charges now. It's going to get another proc in onto the bottom inhibitor turret, and Argentine is not up for another 3 seconds or so. So they're going to manage to take that tier 3 objective in the bottom side, extending their gold lead to around 7,000.
Yeah, Easy Life is, you know, trying to do something in the top lane, but, you know, staring against that tier 1 in the top versus the open inhibitor in the bot lane, not really much you can do.
Yeah, and that's going to be the 3rd dragon being picked up as well for Waterloo. And look at the itemization coming out from Turret Tickler. Super smart. He knows that the only person that's going to be able to have the potential to really take him down in a side lane is going to be Easy Life or Morn. And so when he builds something like the Zanyas into the plated steel caps immediately, just so much damage negated there coming in from all of that armor. Really going to prevent any of Tufts members from going aggressive on him.
Yeah, I think at this point, they're just kind of going through the motions. Jansu finally has that first item, but, 1.5 completed for the side of Callum Coy, and I don't think there's much the Philios can really do into this Kaisa, but they're looking in this top lane. Olaf is there, but there are 3-2 Jumbo's favorite here.
Ragnarok popped, and it looks like Legans is going aggressive. 3v2 though, not going to be an even matchup for now. But here come the rest of Waterloo. They're going to try and cut off the rest of Tufts. And Zenden is the one leading the charge. Legans is going to go aggressive onto Argentine, going to pick up the kill on to the top laner for now. Zenden's going to miss the hook, but it looks like Easy Life might still be in a bit of trouble as the rest of Waterloo close in onto the top side. Now, with the top laner gone, 21 minutes in, it's the signal for Waterloo to go for Baron.
Yeah, I mean, there's not really much Jumbos can do about this. They just lost their top laner. They're down 7.4k gold. Talon just finished that Cerberus bang we were talking about, but it looks like it's going to be a little too late.
Yeah, I mean, the itemization means a decent amount, but not when you're down this much gold. It's going to be 9k deficit that Tufts is staring down as the first Baron of the series is picked up for Waterloo.
Yeah, it looks like with 3 minutes left on this drag, they're just going to try to get as much as they can off this Baron and then just reset to get that soul if they haven't already won the game.
Yeah, and that would not really be too much of an over-exaggeration to say that the game could potentially even end before the 4th dragon spawns. This team is so far ahead. My prediction is if they go into a team fight, Waterloo will wipe Tufts regardless of the situation that they're really put into. It's going to be really miraculous if the Jumbos are going to be able to come back and prevent the fight from going over and the game going over in the next couple of minutes.
Yeah, 2-item lead in this bot lane. Even if they get that Kaisa down, will Jansu have enough damage to win the fight by himself? We don't really know. Probably not.
Well, we'll see what happens. You know, miracles can happen. Jumbos could potentially turn this game around. Not really looking super hot for them, though. Looks like Waterloo is putting a statement victory on to this first game series. It looks like Argentine is caught out once again. Does have the flash available, but not even going to be able to defeat it because he's just going to flash right into Legans' hands. Callum was there to make sure that the kill would go over, and it does indeed as Argentine dies for the 4th time this game.
Yeah, and it's worth to say that we have seen Jumbos win games similar to these, but it's not when the gold is on that mid lane talent. It's usually when that gold is on the Philios, and with the Philios only having 7k gold to the 11k under the Kaisa, not too promising.
Yeah, it's not looking super hot for them right now, especially now that they're fighting at a 4v5 disadvantage for the next couple of seconds. The hook's going to go wide, but the inhibitor tower is now under fire. It looks like Waterloo is pushing in all 3 lanes. You got Inexhausted up in the top lane with Turret Tickler and Legans down in the bottom side. Callum Coy is going to pick up the 2nd inhibitor tower, as we said before, and now the first big crystal is under fire.
Yeah, there's not really much Jumbos can do to match it at this point. I think their only hope is to try to take a fight under their Nexus turrets or maybe around this inhibitor. But there's a TP up for this Aatrox to, even if they're able to take the fight right now, Aatrox will easily able to stop that push for a second, clean up that fight.
Yeah, and it's gonna take some sort of incredible play coming out from the Jumbos if they want to try and continue to have a stance in this game. The question is, can Waterloo end on this push? They get the 2nd inhibitor. They're a big chunk of damage onto Constantly Malden, though. And Argentine is going to try and fight in this side lane against Inexhaustive. Only 1-2-1, but has a lot of gold, and that's going to be the signal to go in. A huge shockwave coming in from Turret Tickler. Double kill onto the Orianna. And now with a 3v5 for the next 30 seconds, it looks like Waterloo is going to push down and try to end the game.
Yeah, you have to imagine this is it. Jansu is the only one really who has a chance to carry this, but with the flash hook.
Yeah, that's the hook coming in. The AD carry is down. It's Born and Constantly Malden versus the World, and it's going to be just the World here in this game 1. That's the ace. That's the 21 kills in 24 minutes for Waterloo. The Nexus will explode, and that's going to be the Warriors taking game 1.
Yeah. Very good performance from the side of UWaterloo, playing a really clean early game, getting those advantages, forcing those CS differences, and overall winning those skirmishes. And yeah, Tufts gonna have to come back with 2 more wins if they want to clinch out the series.
Yeah, and super dominant performance coming out from Waterloo, making their presence known on the Rift, and that could definitely be a disheartening tough task for them to try and turn it around.
Yeah, but as we've heard from the players, one thing they've worked on is the mental going into these games, taking these losses and bouncing back. So we'll see, what kind of work they've been doing on that. If they actually can bounce back, yeah, game 2 will be coming up shortly.
Yeah, and we'll see if the Jumbos can try and turn it around. They're sitting here at match point as it looks like Inexhaustive and the rest of Waterloo take the first game, and we'll see what happens in game 2 in just a couple of minutes. We'll be back with Champ Select. Welcome back, everybody. We're here with Game 2 between Tufts University and Waterloo B. And Adi, that was a dominant showing coming out from Waterloo in Game 1, and it's going to be up to the Jumbos who are back on blue side to try and make their comeback.
Yeah, for sure. Waterloo really came out of this match with a swing, you know, like getting that really early CS lead in every single lane, you know. They gave up first blood, but were up 10 CS on the Aphelios just from like level 2, so really good job of them, you know, taking that lead into the mid game, you know, keeping up like at least 1,000 to 2,000 gold at every point of the game, and you know, just really closing it out very efficiently.
Yeah, and I feel like honestly, if this was one of those, if Morn didn't get that kill on the bot side to start the game off, probably would have been one of those scrims, you know, where you play out the early game and then 5 minutes in, you just like FF because the game just seems so doomed. So honestly, like a little bit of an unfortunate early game coming in from Tufts, but we'll see how they can manage to turn it around as we're headed into draft phase now. We'll see if the picks and bans really start to change because, you know, stuff like the Orianna coming out from Turtickler was something that a lot of people weren't really expecting. So it'll be interesting to see how that works out. But so far, things are looking rather consistent with the Victor Nutter being taken away.
Yeah, Victor Udyr, you know, mirrors exactly the first game. It makes kind of sense, you know. Victor very strong for the side of Waterloo. Udyr really strong in the Morn, you know. Overall, it's very smart play. The Galio is also taken away from Tufts, so it might signal that they're trying to, you know, play again around something like the Talon or the Ari or the Annie, you know, something that can, you know, be a little bit of a carry performance from Easy Life. But yeah, Seraphine is being the hover right here, but instead it's going to be Ziggs. Oh, wait, nope. Seraphine banned.
You know, just, you know, looking at all the different champions, see what their character art looks like, it seems like. Is Waterloo will take away Seraphine once again. I think Galio was taken away in the second phase last game, so a little bit of a deviation already coming out from Tufts. And we'll see what they finish it off with here. Interestingly enough, it looks like Tufts is going to be banning away the Hecarim, actually. A little bit interesting because, you know, we saw Morn play it in the last game.
Yeah, that I think might like signal to us a little bit of why they picked that Hecarim super early. Maybe they were trying to deny the Hecarim from Waterloo, which is why they're instead going for the ban this time, because they don't want to priority pick that Hecarim. And Senna is being covered again from Waterloo, you know, respecting the Senna Seraphine that we saw before, even though Senna has been indirectly nerfed. And we'll get into the first pick from the side of Tufts, with the Rel coming up again.
Yeah, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I think Constantine's Rel has been rather consistent so far in the CSL playoffs. Ever since he pulled it out in that first game against UMBC, he's been continuing to show dominance on this pick. You know, really just picking it first whenever he can, as long as it's not banned. So I really like this pick up here. Waterloo looks like they're content with the swap, though. They're going to just, you know, match up the Thresh once again, sending that over to Zenden, who had an incredible game 1. So it'll be interesting to see how that bot lane dynamic starts to unfold as we get into the later picks.
I mean, talking about if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Thresh has, you know, had a lot of work in that first game, and there's the Olaf again, at least being hovered blind this time.
Yeah, blind Olaf is a little bit different. You know, there's a lot of maybe potential possibilities that Tufts could elect to go for. Morn does have a pretty wide champion pool, so we'll see what kind of style he decides to go for. It looks like they're just hovering the Olaf to put a little bit of fear into the Tufts team, like, hey, remember this pick, like, you don't want to, you're like, oh, like, you don't want to pick this or something. It's gonna be Kaisa though, gonna be picked up. Callum obviously had as well an incredible game in the first game on this Kaisa pick. Seeing the bot lane consistent for Waterloo is definitely something that they were probably looking for.
Yeah, and we saw a little bit of discussion in chat, you know, about both drafts. You know, both teams also agree for their respective sides that they had a good draft. Maybe we might see a salty run back here, but the Malzahar Xayah picked up instead.
Now, hold on, we might see a bit of miscommunication. It might be a little bit of a mistake. We're gonna get a quick check-in to make sure that that was a weird, that looked like a bit of a bug with the pro draft. So I don't think it's actually gonna be Malzahar being picked up, and it just immediately led into Xayah. So I think it might have just been 2 randoms being picked up right immediately. So it just looks like we're gonna get him into a little bit of a delay here in the pro draft. I think we're gonna get a new one set up just so we can really make sure that the picks are going in order. So we'll get back to you guys in a couple of seconds.
Yeah, it seems like I think the Malzahar Xayah, I got a little too excited. You know, thought we might get something spicy out here, but it was just an auto pick, and then I think something else happened right after that.
Yeah, that's really weird. I don't know how that interaction really unfolded. We're gonna have the same picks and bans up until that B2-3 kind of rotation. So it's still gonna be that Rel being picked up for Constantine with the Kaisa and Thresh responding from Waterloo as we're headed into another remake pro draft really quickly. We're sorry everybody for the slight delay, but honestly this gives us a lot more time to talk a little bit more about the draft, because seeing these picks like the Hecarim being taken away is definitely a little bit of a change in dynamic, not entirely what I was expecting.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like I was talking about before, it kind of makes sense, you know, that for early pick from last time, you know, for why the Hecarim was picked so early, but Mail's signaled that they want to put Morn on something he's a little more comfortable with, or at least give him that like counter pick maneuverability.
Yeah, it looks like yeah, just like a pretty weird thing. Headed back into the pro draft though, and we're gonna see the same bans once again. But it looks like the bot lane was the focus so far here in the early stages of the game, of the pick and ban phase. Sorry. So now we see that get out of the way. I'm interested to see how much more focus Tufts decides to put around their top side. You know, they had that blind Gragas come in earlier, so it looks like since Waterloo's on red side, they're gonna have that final counter and might just send it over to Inexhaustive anyway. So it'll be a little bit interesting.
Yeah, and that's not Olaf banned. That's actually a Hecarim banned. Again, you know, a little bit of a mistake in the pro draft.
We'll figure it out. Pro draft is weird sometimes. It looks like a little bit of bugs happening all over the place right now, but it is the same picks, you know, that we were gonna have here. I think we're getting word that if the Hecarim does pop up here for anybody in the draft, it is going to actually end up being that Olaf. So just something that we'll just to keep an eye on. You know, if it ends up happening, we'll just remind you guys again. But yeah, just for future reference.
Yeah, the Xayah actually is the one picked up here, so that Malzahar Xayah insta pick kind of makes sense what happens there. Xayah was trying to be picked, and instead they picked Malzahar then Xayah, but Xayah already picked up here, so I think they're saying like we don't want to give Waterloo the chance to ban out Easy Life champions. We took away that Galio, it means we're going for that Ahri, and very safe, very good pick inside of Easy Life, as we saw before. He's very comfortable on that pick, but looks like Waterloo's getting ready to pick the Hecarim, which obviously is the Olaf instead. Yeah,
just a reminder, that is Olaf, just to double check. Just imagine Olaf and Hecarim swap places essentially. Olaf going to be going over to Legans again for the side of Waterloo, so we'll see what they decide to do. The benefit of picking this on this R3 means you can immediately pick the Hecarim and then ban out two of the counters, so it'll be interesting to see how Tufts and Waterloo sort of respond to that.
Yeah, and talking about banning out those counters, Lilia taken away, one of the champions that Morn has had a bunch of really good performances on, and is pretty decent into that Hecarim, can match the move speed a little bit, you know, has the similar, like, you know, four-legged creature running around, spinning something over their head, you know?
Yeah. And that's going to be the Lilia being taken away again. Once again, a bit of a disparity. Ahri being locked in for Tufts means that the mid lane pool will be potentially the spot where Tufts decides to try and, you know, target ban. But it looks like they're actually going to opt towards the top side, banning away Inexhaustive Aatrox, a champion that showed a lot of dominance in the early laning phase against his Gragas. And we're going to see a Gnar ban in response. They don't want Argentine's signature Gnar champion being picked up as well.
Yeah, and we saw them trying to respect the Sion a little bit as well, but I think, you know, knowing that Gnar can like punish a little more than Sion can into those melee matchups, they're saying, we're fine giving you the Sion because we probably have a better pick into the Sion up our sleeves.
Yeah, and this is pretty interesting here. So we're going to see the Vladimir being taken away. This means that they really have kind of pinched the AP champion pool that Waterloo really has available. Obviously, Orianna is still on the table if Turtickler wants to pick it up, but if he decides to go for something like Yon and Yasuo, will lead to a basically all AD team comp. Instead, we're going to prevent that from happening. It looks like we're going to see the Orianna being locked in for Turtickler once again. A lot of the same picks going over to Waterloo despite the dominant performance that they showed in the first game.
Yeah, and I like this, you know, going for the, the run back off of that pretty dominating performance, but also, you know, keeping up that top lane counter pick again. We already know Orianna's going into that Ahri, jungle's going to be able to counter pick anyway, and, you know, this means, you know, maybe they're trying to bait that Sion pick, and here comes the Sion.
Blind Scion coming in is a bit worrisome, I would want to say. Just looking at Inexhausted's champion pool, you have stuff like Camille, like Jax, like Fiora, Aurelia even. A lot of champions that really do really good into this Scion pick. So it looks like Inexhausted will have a lot of answers. It's going to be up to Argentine to play that weak side well and manage to, you know, really try and maintain his like sort of lead here. Adi, this is exciting though. We see a really interesting pickup here, Elise for more.
There is the Elise, the Morn Elise, the used to be like rank 1 or something like that Elise in North America. Man, I'm so excited. Last time we saw Morn's Elise, it was an absolutely dominating performance in the regular season. So can't wait to see what Morn can do with this pick now.
Yeah, and this truly demonstrates really what Tufts is going to try to do here. Obviously, Elise into Hecarim. Definitely Elise favorite until we get to some later stages of the game. So it just looks like Elise wants to kind of work with the solo laners in the early game, get them as ahead as possible to really try and get some sort of early advantage, which is something that they really struggled with in the early game. Sorry, it's Olaf, Elise Olaf, my bad.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's very interesting to note though that what Elise really likes to do is like go for that like, you know, top lane ganks. You know, we've seen a lot of those like dives, the Renekton Elise combos. Obviously it'll be a little harder right now because the Renekton's and Sion instead, and the Fiora has the ability to kind of parry that crowd control, but Elise is still a very strong ganker, and in the hands of someone like Morn, it can really take over a game.
Yeah, and we'll see how well that manages to happen. Of course, there's a lot of like openings for counters available for Waterloo. You have stuff like the Fiora Riposte. Olaf, once he hits that Ragnarok, will be really hard to try to kill in any sort of 1v1 for Morn. But it looks like he just really wants to focus on this pre-6 gameplay. Sitting on blue side, you can go red, blue into Gromp up to get that level 3 as soon as possible. Head over to your top side, try and combo that Decimating Smash with the Cocoon, get an early kill onto Argentine, and scale the lane into your favor.
Yeah, and you know, talking about you know, really strong picks, Argentine import Scion. Obviously, we think that like it was kind of like baited into it, you know, with that.
Welcome back, everybody. Game 2 of the CSL playoffs. There's a bit of a miscommunication. There's a bit of a technical error on our side. We'd like to apologize for all of that. But Adi, we're finally back here. We hope that you guys, didn't leave. But I mean, we kind of were in the middle of a conversation. The stream kind of cut out for a second, but we're back, and so we're ready to cast some more games. Tufts sitting at that 1-0 deficit definitely needs to play aggressive here in this first game.
Yeah, and they chose to not go for the salty run back. We've got the Morn specialty Elise here in the jungle, as well as the Scion and the Ari picked up. We have Jensu going a little bit away from his comfort pick, deciding to go for the Xayah instead of the Vilios this time. But I'm still very excited for this game. We see UWaterloo going around this bot side jungle a little bit again, but they're deciding not to go for that level 1.
Yeah, Xayah Kai'Sa, slightly Kai'Sa favorite, I would say, just all things considered. But I think Jan, it's a pretty safe pick, especially considering that you have stuff like the Fiora and the Thresh potentially trying to dive onto you. Using that Blade Caller will be really important to make sure that you stay alive in these later game team fights. If you can just keep pumping in the damage, it looks like things could potentially continue to work out for you guys here. You're going to see top side starts for both the junglers. Don't think we're really going to see any sort of invade coming out from Legans in this game. It looks like Morin's going to try to just go for a quick level 3.
Yeah, but it looks like the Fiora found the Scion in the top lane.
Oh yeah, level 1 Fiora definitely beats Scion. This is a little bit scary. The Conqueror's already popped. Gonna get the Vital, get 2 Vitals in a row potentially. This is really dangerous. Arjun's gonna be forced to flash out of the way, and Exhaust is gonna continuously try to go in. But now Morin is level 2. He could potentially look to try and go in. Doesn't have Cocoon available. It's gonna just be a dash out from an Exhaustive. Bit of a crazy play to start this one off.
Yeah, both flashes blown from the top laners, and if you look at the map, both junglers are already in that top side. So if you look again, it looks like UWaterloo is going for that level 2 in that bot lane early, trying to chunk out constantly Malden again. But other than that, it looks like all the action is really in that top lane.
Yeah, and Argentine's gonna have to play so careful in this game as we see another hook land on the constantly Malden. We promise, guys, this is not like a repeat. That same play I feel like happened at the exact same point last time, but it is just gonna be. We're here in game 2, so as I was saying, Argentine's gonna have to play super careful as the level 2s have been hit, and Exhaustive now has the E. Gonna try and dash in, get another Vital proc potentially. Actually, elects to go for the riposte, and a little bit early means that Argentine managed to get a nice little kind of knock up there. Here comes Morin.
Elise
doesn't have the riposte just yet. Morin's gonna go in. Does proc the Dark Harvest, gets the Cocoon. Does he have enough damage though? Gonna have to just auto it out for the rest of the remaining fights here in this game. Actually gonna smite. Inexhaustive has the wave with them. Gonna force the flash out, and Inexhaustive playing beautifully in this top side.
Yeah, Morin not able to get enough damage. I think his spider form is what he came in there, so he wasn't able to use the Q as an execute at that time. But they got the flash. Good job from Inexhaustive to get that out. It's gonna be really good for Olaf, as Olaf's able to now invade that bottom side. But
yeah, so much focus happening over on to this top side means that Legans just gets another 3 buff, and this is not really the start that Morin wanted. You would really hope for a bit of a kill in there in the top side, especially considering that Inexhaustive had no flash, no riposte. Gonna be a bit unfortunate though. Gonna try and just get as much as she can. Morin's Elise. Obviously, Elise is not really a champion that necessarily needs the levels to really be super impactful, but getting behind an Olaf that power farms this hard, definitely super scary to start this game off.
yeah, but Andrew, you know what I noticed? That's a tier in the inventory for the Fiora.
That is an interesting pickup here. Tear the Goddess for Inexhaustive knows that he really doesn't have anything to worry about against his Scion, so can really go for the scaling game here. Easy Life get a nice chunk on the Turret Tickler as well, but that's a super interesting buy. I mean, I don't know if we'll see it upgraded into the Manamune super quickly, but always something to look out for as another source of really strong late game damage.
Yeah, and I'm gonna have to apologize, guys. I really haven't been keeping you too much up with the latest Fiora techs. You assume she's a generic bruiser, but again, really interested to see if this actually does end up turning into the Manamune. I'm assuming that if someone would know, it would be Inexhaustive. Compared to me over here, ADC main. But yeah, we'll see it start to trade back and forth again in the top lane.
Yeah, and it looks like Argentine did end up using that teleport, picking up a bit of armor for himself with the cloth in his inventory. Gonna try and, you know, maintain his CS at around even here. He's got to be a little bit careful though. Legant is on top side and is also a level above Morn, so definitely power farming as much as possible. Actually, he's out leveling Inexhaustive at this point, just considering how much farm in terms of the jungle camps he's been able to pick up.
Yeah, and the farm in the mid and jungle is really favoring UWaterloo as they, you know, scraping away with like about a almost 1k goal lead right now.
Yes, already the advantages are pummeling in for Waterloo, and they're sitting at that 1k advantage, which is pretty large, especially considering that no kills are on the board. So super scary here for the Jumbos once again. Looking at the mid lane though, Turret Tickler with an early Verdant Barrier. I really like this purchase, especially considering you have that double AP mid jungle duo. Going to provide so much utility with the extra amount.
Yeah, and it looks like, you know, it's just doing the same thing as last time, except this time there's no talent, so you go for that Banshees component instead, and Zoriana's going to be really safe, and, you know, with Easy Life, like, electing to go for more, like, carry-style champions, makes sense that Oriana is kind of just playing for the safety and utility that she can provide.
First Dragon is available, and it looks like Legant has started it up. Morn is here, though, going to miss the cocoon onto Callum, but he has no mana. This could be a good fight for Jumbos if they manage to get in successfully. Not going to be the case, though. Turret Tickler is going to go in to secure the numbers advantage, and that's the first Dragon of the game going over to Waterloo once again.
Yeah, and it's a nice try, but with the cleanse on that, Kai'Sa's still up. I didn't think like there was much they could really do there. Legant's is just like so far ahead now, up like more than 20 farm, and you know, I like that Morn's trying to go for those plays, but Legant's is gonna hit level 6 soon, and Morn is still level 4.
Look at that CS discrepancy once again for Legant on the Olaf. It's literally like 6 camps ahead of him right now. So he's just power farming, has that 2-level advantage as well. Morn is really going to have to put in some really good work in these next couple of minutes. Get a couple of kills in some of these side lanes to get himself back into this game. Looks like the kills might actually be going to Waterloo though. Shockwave already issued on to Easy Life. Going to dodge away from the undertow, but Legant is going in. Has the ultimate. Going to be charmed up for now. Doesn't look like he's actually going to go super aggressive since he doesn't know where Morn is. So it looks like Easy Life going to save his life for now. They might actually look to continue to go back in though. Olaf does still have the ulti available, but Easy Life just going to make sure to get in there and hold the wave.
Yeah, really good job from Easy Life, just kiting that one out, you know, taking the ultimate away from the Oriana. Nice job from the Olaf, you know, holding on to that ulti. I really think there wasn't much he could do there, and there's a chance actually that with the Ignite and ulti up from Easy Life, that if he decided to give up the bonus armor and MR he gets from his ulti by activating it, then he might have fallen.
Yeah, super scary coming out there. So we'll see how that really works out in the mid lane. As you know, Easy Life is sitting at about 20 CS deficit. 8 minutes into this one though. Bot lane is actually a little bit more even in the last game. Sansu still sitting at about 10 CS behind. Callum and Zenden doing a really good job manipulating these waves into their favor, as they now have the level advantage once again. So it looks like the Jumbos are going to have to be really careful to try and stay alive until they hit that ultimate marker. But because of that, it's just going to be a free sit up in the bot side.
Yeah, we do see Morn, you know, going for some counter jungling, taking away that blue buff, you know, getting some vision down. But, you know, just that pressure that Legant's able to get in that bot lane means that they have the advantage. But if you look at the mid lane, Sion ulti.
There's a train coming in, but it doesn't look like you're going to hit onto Turret Tickler. Just going to have to get out for now. Nice proactive play coming out from the Tufts top laner, trying to just get some impact on the map, knowing that he can't really win his lane against an Exhaustive. Trying to go in, get his other teammates ahead. Doesn't look like he really got that goal.
Yeah, we can see he tried to have some follow-up too with Easy Life, but Easy Life lands a charm, but we see Legant's here shadowing, but still a good trade from Easy Life, chunking half the health of the easy EQ setup, but yeah.
Morn is looking aggressively into the tower here. Constantine is going to join him as well. Morn is severely under-leveled, but is still an Elise. You know, the ultimate doesn't really do too much for you once you hit that level 6. So they might see a bit of a dive as we try to crash in. Maldine has the Magnet Storm. They're going to flash in. They're going to lock up Turret Tickler. Repel to save Morn's life, and that's first blood to Easy Life.
Yeah, fantastic, you know, dive from the side of Tufts. You know, getting that Rel ultimate with the W, the flash in, or I don't think that was a flash, I think it just like W'd in, and good job from Turret Tickler not expanding the clan's so much crowd control layer that clans really wouldn't have done much.
Yeah, and the cleanse really wasn't used. I don't think it really matters though. So much CC going back and forth. I mean, it was just layers upon layers, like a bit of a 3-layer cake, as you would speak. And that's the icing on top. It's gonna be that first blood to Easy Life, doing a lot here to get himself back into this lane. Seeing the grand challenge issued onto Argentine because Legans is here as well. Looks like he's got to be a little bit careful though under the tower. Not going to be able to proc that health shrine for himself, but that's the Rift Herald being popped. But here comes Constantine. No ultimate available, but it's a 3v2 under the tower. Easy Life is going to try and join in as well. Nice chunk of turret plates being taken as a result of the Rift Herald being procced, but no kills going over.
Yeah, good job from Tufts, realizing that Olaf has that Rift Herald, can like flick that player on the top lane and, rotating to protect Argentine Import. Obviously, they still get that 2 plates, that's guaranteed with the Rift Herald, but the hook is landed on constantly Malden.
Malden forced to use the flash to get out. Argentine is going to try and save his support, as looks like the Waterloo top side was just going super aggressive around the turret. Charm's going to miss onto Turret Tickler once again. Zenden is here to make sure that the wave makes a push into the Tufts tower to potentially get a reset off for the Oriana. So far, the gold lead is still definitely in Waterloo's hands, but it's not as drastic as we saw in the first game.
Yeah, for sure. Tufts getting the first blood again, but not really losing too much from the for that as well, and playing a really good play around that top lane. And with that lead on Easy Life again, maybe Champion is more comfortable on Champion with better roaming potential. He might be able to make more of a play.
Yeah, and Easy Life definitely in the past few games has shown a lot of growth in terms of like being able to carry, doing a lot of good work on champions like the Annie, like the Talon in the last game, and now once again on the Ahri, one of his signature champions. Looks like Tufts really opted for comfort here in this elimination scenario in the series. So heading into the 12-minute mark, the Dragon has once again spawned, and it looks like Legans and the rest of Waterloo are trying to hover around the objective.
Yeah, UWaterloo's just done such a good job in these few games, getting that Dragon priority, using their advantage either in the jungle or bot lane to, spread to the other jungler or bot lane, depending on like which one they have the advantage on, and just getting those dragons.
Early Featherstorm used there from Jan in the bottom side to try and dodge away from Zenden's hook. And that is a crucial cooldown being used already. As we see a 3v3 erupt around the Dragon. Morn using the repel to once again dodge away from the hook. Fox was already used from Zenden, so it's a trade of ultimate support for AD carry. Argentine's actually doing a decent job here in these trades on the top side. Gonna try to use the onslaught in, but it's gonna miss, and that means that Exhausted has a chance to go in back in again. That's the heals going in once again. Argentine is gonna try to flash out, has the roar of the Slayer, gonna land the decimating smash. The riposte is in, and that's a solo bolo for the Argentine Import, picking up the kill in the top side. Dragon is traded in return, but what an outplay.
Yeah, the solo bolo, like you said, Andrew, very close one, but kited that one out really well. Good job of Fiora dodging out that Cyan ulti, but Cyan just playing around the cooldown so well, and getting the kill. And while they lost that Dragon in the bot lane, now they have another lane they can look to try to get back into this game.
Argentine is now in the lead here in this matchup. Once you get those items coming in, Argentine didn't really take a lot of deaths in the early game, didn't let Inexhaustive snowball that early game lead, and so now with a lot of armor is able to really scale up and try to go in. And now we're going to see a play on the bottom side. Moore's going to land the cocoon, a beautiful chain of crowd control as Callum's going to use the Killer Instinct to get out safely. So it looks like another helpful trade there in the bottom side for Tufts, as the third place just managed to fall. But right now, Tufts is really trying to stay alive in this game. They're making the proactive plays. They're going all across the map. They're going to try and really secure their advantage here and make sure the gold lead doesn't go too far ahead.
Yeah, I mean, they only got the cleanse off of the Kaisa there, but still, I like the proactive play from Tufts, and while it wasn't super successful, good attempt, as looks to be a 2v1 in the top lane.
Oh, this is not fair, man. Round 2 is a little bit of a disadvantageous matchup here in the top side as Argentine falls to Legans and Inexhaustive. The wave is continuing to push in. Inexhaustive also manages to pick up the third tower of the game on top of that, so a lot of gold going into this Fiora's hands.
Yeah, but there are no ultimates on the side of Waterloo, at least with the top and jungle, so they're easily able to get the Olaf splash, and Easy Life has one more ulti proc.
Charm's gonna flash away from Inexhaustive, going in, a flash 2 from Morn will secure the kill onto the Fiora. Beautiful job coming in as the Elise manages to continue to press her advantages here. Still down 2 levels, but managing to get the kills and get some leads for her teammates. They're sitting here at the 15-minute mark, and it looks like Callum and the bot lane of Waterloo are going to try and push in the bot lane turret in return.
Yeah, really good job from Morn and Easy Life to get another kill. Punish Inexhaustive and Legends for pushing so far in for that kill. But Callum Coy is going in on Jansu now. Argentine import here.
There's the onslaught coming in. It's a 2v2, but the Argentine import is much stronger than Zenden. Morn is going to come in and try to take down the Waterloo bot lane. A lot of gold potentially on the table for this team. They're going to land the knockup onto Zenden. They're going to use the box to try and zone. That's the cocoon. That's the damage. And that's going to be a kill from Jansu onto Zenden. Callum does manage to get out with his life. But once again, Morn playing super aggressive all over the map. That's the W going in on to Morn. The Prey Seeker will not trigger the ultimate coming in from Callum. Knows that was a little bit of an aggressive play, but might actually get caught out once again. Is Jansu playing Baiter once more. Constantly Malden going in with the flash. Gonna land that Magnet Storm. Gonna get a lot of damage, but that's the Killer Instinct shield. One more auto will do it, and that is Jansu picking it up. And the heal will save Constantly Malden's life. Beautiful usage of the Summoner as Tufts gets 2 straight kills.
Yeah, I'm not completely sure. It looked like Jansu had a couple of auto attacks on that turret, and Turret Tickler is here to kind of clean up.
Not looking too good, but Constantly Malden is still alive somehow. That's the Ragnarok pop. The Undertow will finish off the Rel, but the rest of Tufts is here to try and re-engage onto the bottom lane. As Turret Tickler being chunked out and going to be taken down by Morn. Legans is now in the middle of a 3v1 without the Ragnarok. Will not be able to get out of the cocoon. Easy Life is jumping in, but actually gets hooked up by Zenden, but they'll take down the Olaf. Zenden is now running for his life in a 4v1, going to flash out, and a nice usage of a lot of team fight potential coming in from Jumbos. They get so many picks in a row.
Yeah, and you know what? I gotta say before I, hype up Tufts a little bit, good job from UWaterloo, still getting those goal leads like they did in the last game. But this time, Tufts is the one making those plays as Jansu and Constantly Malden trying to fight against Inexhaustive in the top lane.
Carry coming out from Inexhaustive, gonna land the final Q and take down Jansu. Now Constantly and Argentine are going to try to potentially look for another pick, but the Fiora is going to get out safely. What a play coming out from Inexhaustive, showing why he is so strong on this champion.
Yeah, and Inexhaustive has taken so much pressure up in this top lane. That early gank from Elise, that 2v1 performance right there, just showing really good just why this Fiora is so good.
And the kill lead is definitely deceptive here in this game. It looks like Tufts is getting a lot of plays, which they are, but the gold lead is still vastly in favor of Waterloo, sitting at about 3.5k in the driver's seat. Look at the CS difference. It's about 50 in the jungle for Legans. He's still sitting at that 2-level advantage. So at any point, this game is still definitely in favor of Waterloo.
Yeah, they do have a decent amount of gold lead, but it's a lot closer than before, and that gold is kind of on that mid laner, and while it's not the talent, Ari still has the ability to have a lot of pressure, especially get later into the game.
They're going to start up the Drake. Going to try to prevent that soul point from going over, but this is scary. There's 5 members of Waterloo in. Zen is going to hit the hook on the Constantly Malden, but Argentini's going in. Big onslaught, but a huge shockwave on the other side. Jansu immediately falls, and this is a fight that Waterloo will win. A double kill going over to Legans. Make it 3 as Constantly Malden falls as well. Argentine will be the last person, not going to be able to get anybody in zombie form. And Easy Life versus the world here in a 1v4. Doesn't look like he's going to be able to get any kills in return. It's Inexhaustive picks up the kill with the final crit. That is the kill advantage, looking a little bit more representative of what this game is as the ace goes over to Waterloo.
Yeah, really good job getting that Orianna ulti, and while Argentine import goes in, Legends is able to just dive the backline, and you know what? Really good performance from UWaterloo. Very good ace, very well-deserved soul point pickup, and now this goal lead is extending pretty far.
Yeah, they're definitely pushing their advantages once again, looking eerily similar to that first game. Tufts is sitting at this big gold deficit as we head into the 20-minute mark. The only difference, though, is that the item difference in the bottom side is not that drastic. I think a lot of the gold disadvantage really is on this Olaf, and as the Olaf scales later and later into the late game, the Gore Drinker doesn't scale as well as it used to. So, it is potentially possible. Obviously, Elise doesn't scale much at all herself. But once Jansu, as long as Jansu and Argentine can try and stay consistent in terms of itemization, Tufts is not out of this game just yet.
Yes, it's definitely compared to that game 1. Tufts has an avenue back into this game, but it's still going to be a little bit of a tall order as they're facing down 3 drags and about a 5k gold lead.
Yeah, 5.5k is the number as we head into the 20-minute mark. Baron Nashor has just respawned. Waterloo not going to really focus around that objective just yet. I think they can really play it safe for the next few minutes. Wait for that soul to respawn, fight around that Drake, and potentially get another game-clinching advantage.
Yeah. This Olaf is just like been really strong this game, you know. Off of that, like, you know, outplay in the top lane with the Fiora, and the Olaf just getting so much more farm. He's just been like so far ahead and been getting leads everywhere, especially in that like bot part of the map.
Yeah, and then Leganz's Olaf is doing so much work in this game, sitting at 4-1 and 2 again, has about a 2k gold lead on Morn individually, so that's where a lot of that gold lead is, as I said before. That definitely a super scary Waterloo team as we continue to push forward into this game too. Once again, this is not a do or die situation for the Jumbos necessarily. Still, a loss will send them down into the losers bracket. Never want to be in there, always want to be taking those dubs. As we continue to go forward, it looks like Waterloo is going to continue to push into the inner turrets. Now, the only thing is that, you know, Jansu and the rest of Tufts can continue to farm up potentially if the waves keep crashing in. So, not really the end of the world just yet.
Yeah, that's true. Like, I mean, like I said before, they still have their inhib turrets up. There are a couple of tier 2s, you know. They have the ability to, you know, take those wave crashes, you know, if Waterloo isn't looking to force much. But, you know, I see 4 members around that Baron, so definitely have that threat to, you know, take that if Tufts, you know, spreads their sums a little too thin.
Something to look out for sure. And just a proper wave manipulation going on here. But honestly, Waterloo is doing what they have to do. They have to keep the vision on their side of the map, make sure that the waves are continuously pushing in to allow them to get to more advantages in the jungle. And the Baron is available, so definitely have to be careful around the pit if you're Tufts. You know, there's always a chance of just like the Kai'Sa Olaf just going ham onto the Baron and taking it down. Inexhaustive, gonna win these trades now onto the top side, has that 2-item power spike, and he's gonna continue to go in. That's the grand challenge issued. He's gonna try and buy some time for Argentine. The knockup is gonna get flashed away from, but it's gonna be a trade. That is definitely worth if you're Argentine import. You trade 750 gold for 300, and that is gonna be a 1-for-1. But in the bottom side, Jansu has been caught up. The double ultimate's coming out from the mid 80 carries, but a nice usage of the Featherstorm and the flash to get himself out. Not all bad, all things considered, for Tufts just yet. Might get a little bit worse as constantly Malden gets hooked up. It's now a 4v4 as the dragon spawns in a minute. Callum is going to flash away from the charm, going to land onto Leganz instead. And it doesn't look like too much is going to happen so far.
Yeah, trading both ADC's flashes and ultis across that play, as well as the mid laner's ultis. Overall, really good job from both sides, you know, trying to catch out that ADC, and, you know, there's just a lot going on right now with that, like, 1v1 in the top, or with the top laners into that catching of individual ADCs.
Yeah, it was just 2 plays in successive order, not really related to each other, but it ends up not bad for Tufts. You know, you blow the flash off of Callum, just adding another layer of escape off the table for him. You trade the kills in the top side. That's essentially a kill going over Argentine if you consider all the gold. Sure, the wave was kind of continuing to crash in, but it's actually pushed again towards Waterloo at this point. So not all too much gold lost in terms of CS there for Argentine as well.
Yeah. You know, just talking about win conditions, obviously we're staring down 6k gold for the side of Jumbos. I mean, I can talk about UWaterloo's win conditions, but it seems pretty cut and dry here. They're just going to keep whoever picks extending the lead.
This might be a win condition. Again, takes another kill, make it his 5th of the game as he takes down constantly Malden, now at a 4v5. The Mountain Soul is available, so it doesn't look like very good odds so far for Tufts. Morn is going to have to go for one of his miraculous steals. Not going to get it, though. That's the shockwave into the Killer Instinct once again. Morn is caught between 4, and the Spider will get squashed, as that's going to be Waterloo picking up the Mountain Soul.
And with Mountain Soul picking up Morn down, you got to think that UWaterloo is going to look towards this Baron.
And Exhaustive is already there for the party. Wasn't there for the drag. Going to show up for the Baron, however. It looks like the rest of the Waterloo team is going to join up. 17 seconds on Morn. Don't think he's going to be able to get there in time. The question is, can they try and escape successfully? Doesn't even look like Tufts really wants to engage onto the Baron. They know that the objective is gone. Might as well give it up without losing anymore.
Yeah, and with Baron and Mountain Soul picked up, gotta say, odds are not looking too hot for the Jumbo squad right now.
Yeah, definitely not in their favor in terms of odds for this game. A lot to learn in this series, though. The early game was definitely a struggle for this Tufts roster as we started off in this series. First time they, yeah, so we'll see how they continue to move on further into the bracket as we continue to move forward into this game. So game's not over yet, still 25 minutes into this game, not over until the Nexus blows. So still a lot of opportunities for Tufts to potentially go back in, but as we said before, the odds are certainly in Waterloo's favor.
Yeah, Manamune did actually end up getting picked up from Fiora, so that's some interesting tech, but you know, I don't feel like the technology is really going to make the difference here, as said, almost 9k gold lead, Baron buff, and Mountain Soul versus, you know, not really much of anything. Not a single tower taken down from Tufts.
Yeah, that's a lot of damage going over to an exhaustive with that Muramana pickup. Gives you 50 bonus AD and about 90 damage on hit with his abilities like the E and the Q. So definitely going to be super valuable there. Legans might have caught out Morn though. Without that ultimate ticking on him, gonna get taken down. The repel to buy a little bit of time, but not enough. 4 levels down on the Elise. Jansu's gonna try and use Feather Storm to stay alive, but it's just tradition at this point, as it looks like Waterloo's gonna close this game out.
Yeah, with the Morn down, 5v4, Fiora's pushing down that bot lane. We got a cannon minion sitting there taking down that mid lane turret, and yeah, it's not really much Jumbos can do about this.
Another hook landing on the constantly Malden. Zenden's hook rate has been incredible this entire series. Now the base has been cracked open for the Jumbos. They're going to be the first inhibitor of the game being taken down in the middle lane. They're going to focus their attention now onto the bottom side. Morn has respawned, so it'll be a 5v5 at the base. The odds are not looking good for them. Second inhib goes down. Now staring down an 11k gold lead at 27 minutes. Jumbos are going to have a tough task to try and turn this fight. Argentine is going to get hit up a little bit, not too much, and it looks like after all is said and done, Waterloo will try to make a reset and just try to, you know, end the game a little bit.
Yeah, they got the reset there, but you know, Baron is still up for about you know, oh, it's about to expire, never mind. But looks like it'd be a little bit of a deal here in the top lane, but Morn's there to try to assist.
Big chunk of damage landing onto Argentine with that vital proc. Inexhausted is going to be basically unstoppable in the side lane at this point. Nobody can really match up with this Fiora at this stage in the game. Has 3 items completed compared to Argentine's 2.5. And just considering all the percent health damage and the healing that Inexhausted has in his kit, it's going to be pretty hard, especially with that Mountain Soul. Looks like Waterloo's going to be headed over to the 3rd and final inhibitor tower of the game. Going to try and take that one down potentially. Doesn't look like really that many resources are going to be almost in here though, as Waterloo looks like they might try to reset, try to just farm up a little bit more, steal some camps, and, you know, scale a little bit.
Yeah, just clearing up for the chat, this is a best of 3, so if Waterloo wins this game, they will be sending Tufts to the losers bracket.
Yeah, definitely a quick work here in this series so far for Waterloo B. They are definitely showing their dominance here on Summoner's Rift. Legans gonna go aggressive. They're just gonna keep escorting these waves into the Tufts base. Eventually, gonna hope the Jumbos crack and try to go aggressive to a fight that is certainly doomed. Argentine might be a little bit out of position. It is pretty tanky though, and Exhaust gonna go in with the vitals as well. Time will get out safe.
Yeah, for sure. You know, they have all members up, but that hook is landed again on Easy Life, who's
Easy Life
falling
is
down to
almost
Ignite.
dying. Locket will buy some time, but Callan picks it up. Now here's the deciding fight. Malden has the grand challenge on him, will get shut down, as will Jansu. It's now Morn and Argentine versus the rest of Waterloo. It doesn't look like Morn is going to be out here very much longer though. That's going to be another kill going down. Argentine is up in the, up towards the top lane. He knows this game is over. 29 minutes in, Waterloo takes the series 2-0.
Yeah, and as the Nexus falls, Tufts will be set down to the losers bracket to, you know, play the rest of their playoffs.
What a dominant showing from the University of Waterloo, doing so much work in the early game, building up so much of an advantage for themselves, really to the point where the game was out of Tufts' hands nearly from the start in both of the games, doing so well for themselves. And that's going to be them moving on into the winners round of 16. Tufts will go down into the losers bracket.
Yeah, and it's a very exciting match. Definitely was a very strong performance from UWaterloo, getting those CS leads, those like advantages across the map, spreading them out really well, getting those dragons, and just like winning those like mid game fights consistently. I think after that one, we're gonna take a bit of a break, and we'll be back to close out the stream and let you guys know about the next match.
Welcome back, everybody. We're back here just to close the stream out for a little bit. A tough 2-0 loss for Tufts here in round 3 of the winners bracket. Going to be sent down to losers, but Adi, this tournament for them is not over just yet.
Yeah, I mean, one good thing about being in the winners bracket is that if you lose, you just go down to the losers bracket, and they'll have at least one more match to play. And you know what? Although they had a 2-0 loss, I still think there were some exciting games to watch. I really hope you all enjoyed coming here to watch. Andrew, do we know who we're playing next week?
I don't. I think the opponent is to be named later, just considering some of the games are still probably happening right now. So we'll get back to you guys on our socials as soon as we know who the opponent is. But it is going to be Tufts being sent down to the losers bracket. Quick reminder though, we are going to be taking a week break in the CSL playoffs. So we will be back in a couple of weeks, but next weekend we will not be on air, but we will be on after that. So just to keep you guys updated on that, make sure to follow us at Tufts JumboCast on Twitter just to keep us aware of everything as well. And yeah, Adi, there's just so much that we can have to look forward to so far.
Yeah. So just to wrap things up, again, congratulations to UWaterloo. Really good match from them. Thank you for all of you guys coming in, tuning in to watch, and we hope to see you guys back here in a couple weeks.
Yep, just taking on the look at the bracket real quick. Once again, we will let you know when that next game opponent has been decided, and we'll see who the Jumbos take on for now. Once again, thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you, Audie, for being on with us. Huge thanks to Bravo and Worth It and Henry for being on the pregame as well. With that, we like to say farewell and see you all in a couple weeks.